Righto, so I'm back on the jet ski again. What am I doing this time? Well, you saw my last effort to try and seal up the head gasket. I was pretty sure it didn't work, but now I'm actually doing my 20th oil change on this thing. The oil actually looks pretty good. Now, I've taken the cam cover off, and I don't know if you see that so well in the sun. I put it in the shade, but that's Milkshake Central. So I'm wondering if I actually solved it with my dodgy head gasket in a bottle method. But the water that I saw on the oil was just residual stuff from inside the motor. So I've taken the cam cover off. Now what shonky business is going on here? Well, what I'm thinking of doing is, everything I've read says that the issue is the head cracks between cylinders 2 and 3 on the exhaust side, and the water basically comes through the crack in between the head gasket and the head and pushes into the bolt hole, and then makes its way up the bolt hole. And of course, because the head of the bolt's not sealed, it just squeezes by. There's actually a couple of videos on YouTube showing this happen on a block and head, all pressurized up to temperature. Yeah, so what am I thinking of doing? Well, I'm going to pull that head bolt and just have a look, see what my possibility is of actually sealing that head bolt, just so that, because like most head gaskets, well, I'm kind of speculating here, but most head gaskets, they've got a special ring around the actual piston that seals combustion pressure, and from what I've read, these things don't push water into the combustion chamber mostly. It's more up the head bolt into the water jacket that way. So yeah, I'm hoping to pull that head bolt, have a look, see if it's full of water. Well, that's my problem, and seal it up. Now the problem is the cams are in the way. So what have I done? Well, if you have a look here, see, I've basically taken this cam cover off, backed off tension on the tensioner ouvry, and that's still got a fair whack of tension in it. It hasn't come off the crank yet. So if I'm careful, I should be able to pull that head bolt, that bad boy there, and basically basically pull that out, have a look, and see if I can seal it. Now I do have, depending on what size it is, I do have some head studs left over from the TVR that I might be, a stud would be easy, because you put the stud in, put your sealant around the stud, and then put your nut on top. A lot easier than trying to do it with a bolt, maybe. But yeah, so next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to vacuum out around that head bolt, clean it up, and see if I can get it out and have a look, see what I can see. Alright, so I've taken that head bolt out, and if you look down in there, you can see on one side, on the top side there's like a I don't know what it is, like a piece missing from the casting. I don't know if is that the problem? I don't know. So somehow I've got to slip this back in there. Alright, and she's still full of brake cleaner, because I cleaned it out. yeah, I don't know, not sure why that would be there. So alright, what next? Well, I'm going to let this all dry out. Turns out I thought I might have a stud that would replace this, but I can't find them for the life of me. I must have thrown them all out. Although I'll have another look. But yeah, basically the plan is I've got some sort of high pressure or high temperature epoxy that I'll basically just coat the bolt in it, drop it in there, and then drizzle more underneath the bolt and slot it in, and hopefully that will solve my problem, maybe. Alright, we'll see how I go. Righto, so here it is. What a mess. This is some dodgy business. Alright. Oh, sorry about that. Oh, what a mess. Alright, well, I'm going to go and get my torque wrench and torque that down quickly, and I'll be back shortly. Righto, so yeah, I've got the camshaft sitting back there. Now, one thing, if you're going to do something like this, it's best to get it at top dead center before you take the cam cover off, because that's sort of the point where you don't have any of the valves fully open. It's kind of on the overlap, because if you try and put this cam, what do you call this, the girdle back on while the cam's trying to open two valves, yeah, it's not good. So I've just I was 99% sure that I didn't drop the chain off the front of the crank, so I just double checked a rough and ready method of finding top dead center, put the dipstick in there, jogged it backwards and forwards a bit, and yeah, looks like I'm on the money. I'd show you, but it's very dark around the front of those cams. So yeah, so now I'm going to try and bolt this bad boy on, because it's pretty much dry. I've just put some this engine assembly lube on there. Yeah, now I'm going to try and bolt it on. See if that works. So yeah, all right. You see on this too, there's a triangle here and a triangle there. That's the two longer bolts. That's one of them there. Alright, so now to some extent you're going to be sort of fighting against valve springs here. It's kind of not much you can do about that. It's because there's always at least one valve partially cracked open. Oh, that's one of my triangle bolts. Oh, this one already has a bolt snapped off here, by the way. I didn't do that. So someone's been in here before. Alright, so I think I'm kind of on the home stretch here. I've got everything back together. One thing with these, there's two bolts that are actually longer than all the rest. You can see there's a little triangle that's marks in there. Now one of them was missing. Actually, was it? Oh, got to tighten that up. This one here was missing, and someone had put the shorter bolt in the longer bolt hole, and I thought oh, maybe it snapped off, but then on a closer inspection I saw, well, no, it's not snapped off, it's someone's just left it out. So at some point someone's been in here and they've lost that longer bolt. So I wasn't going to go to the Kawasaki dealer and get another longer bolt. So yeah, basically I've just found an appropriate length M6 in my collection of stainless bolts and put that in. Yeah, it doesn't match the rest, but that's alright. So yeah, basically I was paranoid that I'd lost the engine timing because I had to sort of move the cam to one side to put the epoxy in. I was paranoid I'd lost the timing, so I basically found top dead center and faffed about, just made sure that the cam timing was right, and it was right. This is what's left of the epoxy, and this stuff's actually sort of hardened like glass or stone or something, so I'm hoping that'll seal that bolt up. So yeah, I'm just going to put this little timing chain guide on and drop the plugs in, drop the can cover on, which has still got its milky goodness on it. I'll have to do something with that. Just go through and just torque all these up, fill it with oil, and should be good to go. Righto, so here I am at the Mill Point boat ramp. This is pretty much the river jet ski only area for here in Perth, Western Australia. Yeah, I've never been here before, but I wanted to come to the river just because it's nice and flat, so I can just go flat out backwards and forwards and test out, see whether I've solved this problem or not. So yeah, I'm not going to put up any footage of me on the ski simply because I don't have a waterproof case for this jet ski yet, and it's pretty boring. I think you've all seen that sort of footage before, so yeah, see how we go. Alright, so I'm back from the river, just giving it a wash and a flush. Yeah, so how did I go? Well, I'm kind of optimistic. That's the oil there. Now there's a tiny little bit of milkiness there, but I can imagine that, look, if you saw inside the cam cover, it was just coated in yogurt, you know. So I know the bottom end of the crankcase will be the same. So that's probably what's left over from that, I'm hoping. I did, a heap of full power runs backwards and forwards, flat out, just to try and see if I could push any water into the oil, and it doesn't seem like I did. Although it's a bit hard to tell at this stage. So I think the next step will be another oil change, like it's 10th oil change. But this time I'm thinking, because this thing, I can't imagine the bearings are in tip-top shape right now. I mean, I looked at the cam lobes and the cam, bearings, and they weren't perfect, but they were all right, So I'm wondering if the bottom end is, well, it won't be brand new condition, that's for sure. So I'm thinking maybe I'll go a heavier oil, maybe a 20 or a 40 weight. 40 weight might be too much, I don't know. Let me know what you think. But yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic. I think I might have done something. I've at least slowed down the amount of water that's going in the oil. So at some point I'll do an oil change on this, and I'll take it out again and see what it looks like then. All right, well, hopefully it's given you some sort of inspiration or whatever, but all right, I'll see you next time.